Father's love begotten, ere the worlds began to be. He is Alpha and Omega.
Light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. It is a feature of this season of light in the darkness that our homes and our lives are meant to be filled with light. Not only the light of tinsel and Christmas trees, but the light which St. John refers to in the glorious prologue to his Gospel. The natural light of our hearths and homes are a comforting picture at this time of year, when the wind whips the snow about and we are bundled up against its bluster. At the moment, it is easy to think that the darkness which surrounds the world is only getting darker. War in Ukraine, attacks on Israel, death and destruction in Gaza, economic chaos and uncertainty, governmental indifference to homelessness, addiction, and poverty, displaced persons on the move all over the planet, rising Islamophobia, and an ancient and malignant antisemitism rising again, misinformation and disinformation. These are all examples of the darkness that continues to surround us. Like John the Baptist, believers are called to be witnesses to the light and truth of Jesus Christ, and our witness is needed now more than ever. The Holy Family knew a different version of this darkness, but it was very much the same. Oppression is not new in our day. War is as ancient as human sin. Destruction and death are meted out to the innocent in much the same way as it was in their day. Hatred of others, different from ourselves, is nothing new. Mary and Joseph, though, testified to the light in their midst. The tiny child was as much a mystery to kings as he was to shepherds. How can this be? Is this really how God is going to definitively answer the darkness of the human heart? The Gospel of John goes on to remind us that though it appears that darkness may have the upper hand, it does not win. It cannot win. For darkness is nothing more than the absence of light. It has no power of its own to break or oppress or kill or steal. For that, darkness must seduce human beings into believing that they can redress the injustices and horrors of the darkness by adopting the very methods of force and domination that the darkness already uses to destroy and enslave the children of God. Thus, the cycle of death and destruction continues. But thanks be to God, this endless cycle is interrupted by the birth of a baby. It is the vulnerability of Jesus which draws us up short. This is the maker of the heavens and the earth, this squalling child in a manger for a cot. How can this be? In Jesus, both in his birth and his teaching, his healing and his preaching, his death and his resurrection, answers those who think that they are meant to take up the tools of darkness in order to make a safe place to live. Jesus teaches us that this will never be the solution, either spiritually or physically. If you want to combat the darkness, if you want to cast it out and transform the world as Jesus asks us to, you must use light. There are murderous tyrants now, just as there were then, who seek the death of the child because of what he represents. A love that is greater than all the darkness and sin and hatred and war and cruelty we can muster. A love that as a single light is undiminished as it lights others around it. A love that expands and displaces, not persons, but displaces empires which trample on the vulnerable and the weak. A love that speaks to a vast eternal truth rather than an impoverished or short-sighted personal truth. A love which calls us by name to be the beloved of the one who is lying in the manger. A love that requires that we let go of our rage, our burning for revenge. A love that demands we relinquish all the devices and desires of our hearts that are not consistent with the love of the God who gave us those hearts in the first place. This is the way that light triumphs over darkness. Not in grandiose gestures or Hollywood effects, not in hallmark sentimentality or in the misperceived strength of cruelty. Light triumphs over darkness by acts of loving service. Like Jesus, to dispel the darkness, we must wash feet. We must give the gift of ourselves to one another. We dispel the darkness by making room where there was none. We dispel the darkness by feeding those whose hunger gnaws at them. We dispel the darkness by bending low and seeking the Holy Family in precisely those places where they were found 2,000 years ago. For they are the same places where they are walking right now. I wish you a holy and a happy Christmas.
Grows beneath the shadow